Just before we get going today, I'd just like to give a couple of shout outs. The first one goes to Peaks47. Sam's the guy over there, and he is creating an absolutely stunning layout. I have to say, the quality of the scenics is just amazing. First class, top notch. And it's very similar to Mouldy Raspberry, if you've seen that. Although Mouldy Raspberry is more Yorkshire Dales, Peaks47 is more Derbyshire Dales. But I have to say, the quality of the work is just outstanding. But the thing that I like the best is really he gets in there and shows you exactly how he builds it. So well worth a look at that one. And the second shout out goes to Chris Usher, a very new YouTube channel. In fact, looking at it now, he's only got 78 subscribers. So I'm sure if you like his content, I'm sure you could help him out there, couldn't you? And let's get that sub count up a bit. Now the layout itself probably looks around about 5-6 foot long, probably by about a foot, 18 inches maybe. And it looks as if it's going to be based around a TMD. Now, watching the running session last night, he's got some cracking stock. So I think this is going to be one to watch. Now, I'll leave a link to both channels in the description. So if you like either of these channels, then please pop across and give them a sub. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Piccadilly. Yes, it's the main layout. It's been quite a while, hasn't it? Now, please understand that I wanted to start the double O gauge layout, and I'm not going to apologise for that because that's something I wanted to do. But I needed a break from this because a lot of the work that I've been doing, particularly this area here, building all that, the inside of in there, and then when I come down here and started the roof, and I still haven't finished, it's still not there, look, it's downstairs. So that bit there looks a bit of a mess, but it will get done. But it was becoming very intense, and, you know, trying to do the work and put a video out on it as well, it was just all too much, really, because a lot of the work just needed some time to think about, and I just didn't want to do it after a while, so hence the break. But now on to the big change. Right, so what is this change? Well, firstly, you'll notice the HST running there with the full rake of coaches, well 7 anyway, and they're all the Virgin ones, and we've got Blue Peter and A1, I believe that is, running there. Now, what are you on about then, John? Are you going to rip this up? No, not at all. And as I said to a few people, that there, the station, is not going to be affected at the moment. But what I can tell you is it's highly unlikely the window is going to be changed this year because of the disease. So, you know, that means the extension will be put on hold. But I wanted to get something done. Now, the big change is in this area here. I've got New Mills to the left, and I've got New Mills Town to the back there. And that's the problem. It's not so much New Mills Station, although every time I go into this bit, I catch these trees and bits fall off, which is annoying. So I'm trying to combat that situation plus one massive situation. You may or may not be aware that down the bottom, through that tunnel, on the bottom level, there is a single slip. And that single slip causes more problems than I've ever known, to be honest with you, along with this one just there. Okay, now you can see a lot of the trains will cope with it, no problem at all, but there are a number of trains, i.e. this one, yes, and its counterpart down below, can't cope. And it's the odd coach every now and again that comes a cropper. And something happens inside the tunnel. Now, I'm going to take you in there now, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Now, it's all a bit of a mess in there, but if you notice, you'll see the trains running around in the background, okay? So if there's a derailment in there, I either come through this way, and have to negotiate all these wires, or I remove this and I'll put that somewhere, hopefully it won't affect what's running. Then I have to remove this, and I'll just prop that up there for the time being. Then I have to remove this. And trying to do all this one-handed is not easy. And I'll just put that just there. Now you can see it's still difficult to get to that point. Why? Because it's down there. It's right underneath this bit here. Now, I've never really liked this bit. Not the scenery side of it. I like the scenery, but this bit is very much in the way. The other part of the problem is new mills, in the sense that I've got that fiddle yard just there, but if I'm honest with you, I've never really used it. Trains, I used to use it at the beginning. Trains would go in there and sometimes they would get stuck. So it was always a bit of a problem. So what I'm going to do is this bit, I'm going to cut it out, and I'm going to put a board running right the way down here and up the side of New Mills. I'll come out again, I'll show you some more. Now, the other part of it as well is this piece of back scene here. Although I like it, and that view down there, I love that view, and particularly when the other tunnel was in down there, it looked great. But it's like I said, it's a big problem with access. And if you were around when I had Northgate, the previous layout, I had huge issues with access. And so I determined one of the premises of this layout was to create access panels. But as you've seen, I've got 4 things to lift off purely to get to a train that's derailed down the bottom. And it's just too much. And I don't want to do it. So I end up reaching into that little gap, like I pointed out to you, and then I pull wires off, and it's just a nightmare. So I am going to take that section out. This board is coming out, and I'm going to cut it and then mount it so it goes down there right to the very end. Okay, this bit might not have any scenics to it. I'm going to remove part of the foliage coming down here to make this gap wider, so the tracks will come right up to the edge. I might see if I can get some ground, some low-level bushes running along the side, but I will gain at least 4 inches there, if you can see. 3 inches, 4 inches from there to there, which will give me a lot more space inside, and I will then be able to get to that point an awful lot easier. That way I might be able to negotiate that point and actually work the tracks so it actually runs better, which would be a good thing. So what I'm going to do first then, I'm going to cut that out. When you see me again, that bit will be gone. Right, so there it is. That's out now. Just thinking though, if anybody wants this, get in touch, and I'm sure we could come to some arrangement. Just to let you know, there are two posts. There's one there and there's one round the back. And to make it stable so you can sit here, I've just put it on a tin. But you'd have to cut those off, or I'd have to cut them off. But yeah, if you're interested in this, let me know, and we'll see if we can come to some arrangement. Because it would be a shame to chuck it. Now I'll just go around the back. Excuse me. No, it's all scenics around the back as well, so it would be a shame to just let it go. All right. Anyway, I'm moving on. Right. So that's the area that we're working with. So one of my first jobs is that I've got to do is tidy up this wiring and make it come out somewhere else. And I am going to remove this portion of the scenery because it's just in the way. Right, you can see the space. I'll show you from a distance in a minute, but the point that is offending the whole situation is this single slip here. And now, for the first time in months and months, I can actually see the tracks clearly. So I'll be able to see exactly what's going on when the trains are going round, which will be absolutely brilliant. I can't tell you how refreshing this feels. I know it's very destructive and some of you might be going, no! But to be honest with you, it's like I've said to a lot of other people when they've talked about their layouts. If it's not working for you, you've got to change it, Right, well, the next stage then is to just tidy up some of that wiring. It is a right old mess underneath there, which I'm not happy about. That red and black wire actually is just finishing up in a terminal block just there and doesn't actually do anything. So I might as well take that out. The blue and brown wires here are track wires. So it would be a major job to redirect those. But having said that, I'll have a look underneath and see where they come out, and I might be able to track it so it actually comes out underneath the board. Well, there it is. It looks quite bleak, doesn't it? But also, if I take you down this side, you can see a lot of that has also gone. I'll take you a bit closer. Now, immediately, you'll notice the two tunnels are still here, but all the bulk has been cut off the back. And one of the reasons for that is because I couldn't see what was going on in the fiddle yard. So whether it stays as a fiddler yard or whether I turn it into a bridge siding is another matter. But I've gained all of this space here, which is absolutely amazing. So what I'm thinking is this back scene could perhaps be moved back so it actually comes in line with the edge of that, which would then give me much more room to put extra trees in. And I'm still not encroaching on the space down there. Now, these two tracks I'm planning on taking out, or at least moving over, by moving the point, which is down here. If I take you down, hopefully you'll be able to see. The point for that is just there. So you can see it's right underneath this bridge bit. It's really in the way. I can't see what it's doing at all. So if I move that maybe to this area and have the sidings coming off here, yes, they'll be shorter in the short term, but when the tracks are extending, it goes up that way, they'll be much longer. So, I can make much more use of the TMD type area, if you like. So that will be good for the long run as well. But I can actually start then scenicking this area up slightly, and maybe put a bank in, which would be really nice too. So I'll have a think about that. And, I'm just going to be open about all this. If you've got any ideas about what to do with this area around here, then I'll be really happy to hear it. But there are some fixed things I'm not going to negotiate on at all. And that being, I need access to all of these points. And this here, that piece of cardboard with the brown and blue wires, is the other side of that tunnel there. So you can see clearly I can get to everything. This point here goes into the back of Piccadilly. So I'll take you down and have a look at that. See, that goes into platform 13 and 14. So hoping that's making sense. It's been a real difficult one to try and get this to work. I really want to be running trains in and out of platform 13 and 14, but because of this point configuration just here, I've always been a little bit reticent. So that point configuration here, with the single slip there, and the points there, is very important. But I also, if you've noticed, put in another crossover just here. So when trains were going this way, they could enter the lift, which is just there. That's the whole point. That's why I wanted this to work in the way it does. So, yes, there's a lot of work to do, but I think in many ways that's what some of you have been after for a little while. So, like I said at the beginning, I'm not going to apologise for starting the 00, but this does need some work as well at the moment. So I'm going to start thinking about that. And like I said, if you've got any ideas, I'll be really happy to hear it. Okay? So as the 68 comes round, there'll be two videos appearing on your screen right now. The top one will be how I built the canopies for Piccadilly Station. And the second one will be another video which you might like to watch from the Piccadilly range. Thanks very much. Bye for now.